Today, Southwest Airlines cancels over 2,000 flights amidst rumors of a sickout. The Biden administration furthers the divide in America, and Kamala Harris is mocked over a science video for kids. It is a Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up, because it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sara Gonzalez, today joined on her maiden voyage on the show by Savannah Hernandez, a producer of Slightly Offensive. So you may have seen her. I'm sure you have seen her already on BlazeTV. She does also have her own YouTube channel, which I highly recommend that you subscribe to. Can you tell them where to find you before we get into things? Yeah, of course. You guys can find me on YouTube at Sav Says. And Sara, thank you so much for having me on. And I just like to say Happy Indigenous Peoples Day to you. Thank you. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. I don't celebrate that. We're also joined by BlazeTV contributor Eric July, host of For Canon's Sake on YouTube as well. Do you celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, Eric?
I didn't even know that was a thing until...
Well, it's a thing as of like today, I think. So, no more Columbus Day.
Yeah, they've started trying to like bring it in instead of Columbus Day, because Columbus, what a horrible guy he was for doing all the things he did to find America and get us to where we are now. It boggles my mind why if these people think that that was so wrong, why they still live here.
Yeah, you think that they would kind of just go back to their own countries, because America was just, founded on racism, and no one can make it in this country, which, it's kind of crazy that we have, two Hispanic women and a black man here today.
Right, yeah.
Talking in front of all these people.
On national
how
television.
Was it possible? I don't know. Good for us.
Just one of the few, I guess. All right, so let's get into the headlines. This weekend had some interesting events taking place. I will tell you guys before I get into the stories, I was a little bit encouraged by what I was seeing happening around the country with all of the airline employees and potentially air traffic controllers. So I'm interested to get your thoughts. So Southwest customers did not have a fun weekend. If you were trying to fly Southwest this weekend, I'm very sorry for your inconvenience, but good for all of the employees. More than 2,000 flights were canceled Friday through Sunday. They canceled 3 of every 10 departures that they had scheduled on Sunday, and the disruption continued into today, which is, of course, as Savannah pointed out, the federal holiday is Columbus Day, not Indigenous Peoples Day, but they had so far 1 in 10 flights canceled as of the time of this taping. Obviously, Southwest, one of America's most popular airlines, they blamed the all of the cancellations on weather. They tried to dance around it. Yes, it was the air traffic controllers, and the air traffic controllers were like, nah, we're good. We're staffed up to capacity. We're totally fine. And there are rumors swirling that is actually the Southwest employees who staged a sickout over all of the mandates for vaccinations, which I personally would just love. I would love it if that really is I think it is the case. Southwest just doesn't want to say. But, it's interesting. I know Rogan O'Hanley, DC Drano, on Instagram and Twitter, he actually was flying. Because you think to yourself, how would you feel if you were actually flying and you were the one who couldn't get home to see your family or couldn't get to an important business meeting or whatever? And I was thinking to myself, honestly, I really feel like if I were there and I had heard the reason why these were canceled, I would have been like, good. Hold the line. It is a minor inconvenience for me, but short term, but long term, this is about freedom in this entire country. And if the pilots and the airline crews are what it takes to get the Biden administration off of all of our backs, then so be it. What's a little short-term inconvenience? But I'm so curious to get y'all's thoughts. I'm hoping this is the start of something bigger.
Definitely. And you know what? This was the perfect weekend for this to happen, too, because it was AmpFest in Florida. So Almost every conservative was over there, right? And they were all like, yeah, the weather seems really great over here. I don't think that's what's going on right now. And it's been great to see all of these conservatives who did have their flights canceled come out in support of what is happening right now. And they're saying, you know what? I've been at the airport for 12 hours. It hasn't been the most fun day. It's been a little bit uncomfortable, but I fully support what these airline employees are doing, because more than anything, it's extremely important, because it's the message that the government needs us. The government needs the people. We're the ones who keep this entire country running, and the government seems to have forgotten that by threatening to take away people's jobs, their livelihoods, and forcing them between, their medical freedom or paying their bills. So the people are getting mad, and they're finally like, okay, you guys are in charge? No, we're in charge, and they're letting their voices be heard. Yeah,
it's a great point, Savannah. I'll also add to the conversation I don't know who the guy is who runs the Twitter Palmer report. I know he blocked me a long time ago. I'm fairly certain he's a nobody with a blue check mark, but he did tweet out over the weekend about all of these people not showing up for work, and actually called them anti-vaxxers and then labeled them domestic terrorists because they were wreaking havoc on all of the flights. And I'm like, okay, so now we expect that we just are entitled to other people's work, and they don't have wait a second. I thought that the left was pro-unions and pro-workers. I'm so confused.
No, it just depends on what's your reasoning for wanting to hold out is more so what it is. This is a fascinating thing. I'm hearing, yes, there's been conflicting reports. A lot of people that have inside knowledge have been saying that it's exactly that, and that's the reason. So I just operate as if that is the case, despite me not knowing.
And let me just say this: people are speculating that, not just from the insiders who have this info, but all of these happened. All of these walkouts, sickouts happened a day after the Pilots Association of Southwest filed a request in federal court to temporarily block this mandate.
That doesn't seem like that's a hell of a coincidence if it is one.
Right.
But okay, so let's just operate it as if that is true. Obviously, I'm in support of certainly that. And I think a lot of these people who sit up here and advocate for mask mandates, vaccine mandates, passports, and all these sorts of things, which are far beyond just a simple inconvenience. So when we're talking about vaccines, because you're talking about forcefully, rather coercing people into getting an injection that they may not want. The reason why that's so important that something like this happens is because these idiots who have been, yes, I recognize that definitely living in a country like America, it comes with its sets of luxury. Supermarkets, all these flying wherever the hell I want to, and having access to all these goods and services that a lot of people have grown accustomed to because they've gone with it for their entire life. And yes, there are people that produce that in some way, shape, or form, whether it be the direct production or the transport, whatever it is that produces that may disagree with you on a lot of different things, particularly what they inject in their body. And these morons think that everybody thinks like them, or worse, well, we don't need them. All right. This is what happens when the people that you hate so much don't subsidize your work. The reason, and it's funny, we talk about what's going on for people that have been on Twitter, you know what's going on with DC Comics and Superman and all that sort of ridiculousness that's going on. It's the same kind of thing where these people, whether it be with the activists, who are writers or the actors that portray these characters, and they want to change them all up and just basically destroy these brands. It's the same operating principle where they act like either they're entitled to your money or they just are so cocky that they can tell you how much you suck. So I say, in this regards, let them go without for a little bit. And I hope we get this in other things as well, not just with flying or airline industry. Let's have it happen in a multitude of other different things. So these clowns understand that you do need these people. These people do make this country and other countries, to be fair, go round in terms of producing your goods and services. And without them, you are absolutely nothing. You're nothing. It's going to be way more of a mild inconvenience to a lot of people if all these folks held the line and said, you know what? No more. I've been saying we need this sort of non-compliance for a very long time on the show. And this is what it looks like.
I know.
And a lot of people are going to be without, and a lot of people are going to be inconvenienced. And it sucks that has to happen, but this is where we're at. They played their hand, and we got to act accordingly.
I hope that the nurses are paying attention, because I know I was hopeful that the nurses maybe would be the first ones to band together and realize, hey, we have power here if all of us don't comply. If we all walk out on the same day at the same time, what are you going to do? You can't run this place. And Savannah, to Eric's point, it always strikes me as interesting whenever I hear, you speak out against the mandates quite frequently. Have you ever heard someone make a comment, like, I get this all the time, they're like, well, we're vaccinated now and we're moving on without you. And I'm like, oh, are you?
Yeah, have fun getting boosters for the rest of your life. Yeah. Exactly, and that's what I was really thinking about too in regards to this. It's like if we don't stop complying to this now, it's going to be boosters and big pharma billionaires for the rest of our lives. Because look at what has happened over the past year. 9 new big pharma billionaires, and you're telling me that these are the people that are now saying, oh, well, we need booster shots, and we're probably going to continue to need booster shots. And it's like, oh, well, that's so convenient. And also, at 6 months, our vaccine is no longer as effective. It's kind of like, that seems like a really great marketing plan there.
No conflict of interest whatsoever.
No, not at all. This is just the government caring about our health, because we've seen time and time again how much they do.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what's currently going on. And, I get so upset because I'm like, we said okay to the masks, and look at where we're at now.
Yeah. Well, not us.
We should have never said okay to the masks. Yes. And to this day, I still do not wear a face mask in the airlines in hopes that I inspire one other person not to wear one, because guess what? They say that you'll get arrested. They say you'll get kicked out of the airport if you don't wear one. Has never happened to me in almost 2 years of not wearing a face mask in the airport. So that's BS, and it's fear mongering.
Wow.
I like that.
And I want to just go ahead and give my little warning here before we get to this next topic. I am not a doctor. The 2 people at this table joining me are not doctors. We are not trying to give medical advice. If you need any medical expertise or you'd like to hear about any injection that you would like, you should definitely talk to your doctor, and I hope you have a good one who is awake with things. And with that being said, I'd like to get to very quickly this. You know what? It's interesting. This wouldn't normally be national news, but I think it is because of all of this mandate ridiculousness that we're having to debate right now. This is some of the mishaps. This is what happens when you have a mandate. You have to account for things like human error, which is what happened to an Evansville family when they went in with their small children to get flu shots, and instead they were given full adult doses of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine. They have 2 adults in their family and 2 children who are 5 and 4 years old. Obviously, Pfizer, I believe, is seeking approval for children age 4 and younger, but they do not have approval yet for that. By the way, now both children are having heart problems. Which is not surprising when you look at all of the FDA warning labels now on the vaccines. If you're giving them to young people, particularly young men, now myocarditis is on that warning label. And they said that the children have been taken to a pediatric cardiologist. The family was told both are showing signs of heart issues. The younger child has been sick with a fever and a cough. So again, is it rare that this happens? Maybe. But when you take into account the government is telling you you have to inject something into your body, even if they're telling you, even if you bought the argument that it's 100% safe, which, talk to your doctor if you have any questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. Even if you bought the argument that it is 100% safe and effective, which, by the way, no medicine is 100% safe. So I would see no reason to believe that this one is. But even if you bought that, you still have to account for the fact that there will be human error. There will be things like this that will happen. There will be vaccines that are stored improperly that are given to people. There will be consequences for all of those things. Are you, as a society, prepared to just write those people off and say, well, they were just that was their contribution to the greater good?
Oh man, I heard this story and I was like, wow, man. I mean, was it an accident or was it like? I believe there's a lot of evil people in this world, and I believe there's a lot of crazy folk that work in the medical industry, and we've seen this. And I wouldn't put it past people that they did that did it on purpose. And then was like, yeah, we did it, our bad, but hey, at least you got your little vaccination. But yeah, accidents happen, and I hate to hear that youngsters are having heart issues regardless, but definitely something like this that could have been avoided. But we knew that, this is what kind of comes with it, with particularly young people with pericarditis and myocarditis and the injection. That's just hey, Sweden, Denmark, was it? It was like 2 more countries that got added to it as well. That took the Moderna shot completely out for exactly this sort of reason. But this shouldn't be something that's swept under the rug. Right. This is insane, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. There aren't issues like in this regards that happened with other, let's say, vaccinations or other sorts of injections. But this is a pretty big deal. And yes, does the state or these institutions that are constantly pushing this, whether it be with the person that is giving the injection or anything else, yes, of course that can be attributed to what's happening, because you have your state, and by the state I mean like, doesn't matter, federal government, local government, state government, doesn't matter. They're pushing this one issue as if you must get it. You're wrong if you don't get it. And yeah, that bleeds off on, be it employers that are injecting people in part of the medical industry as well, because they hyped up into this psychosis. Like, why wouldn't you get it?
And can I interject here too, really quickly, because you're talking about how the government is really pushing this, right? But not only is the government pushing this, but they're censoring all information, or big tech is, right? Because the government and big tech are separate, and they're separate entities, right?
Right, totally.
So not only is the government pushing this on us, but for example, a woman did die from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I believe this story came out last week. What did Twitter do? They censored her obituary, and they said it was medical misinformation. Every single tweet that I've seen about adverse vaccine reactions, it's censored. You can't share it. You can't comment on it. Not only that as well, but you were talking about human error. In Japan, 1.6 million doses of the Moderna vaccine were recalled because there were metallic contaminants found inside it. 3 people died from that. Are we going to hear that story in the media? Are we ever going to hear the stories highlighted of the young D1 student athlete who got myocarditis and now is going to deal with heart inflammation and heart problems for the rest of his life, because that's not something that's going to go away in a week? Are we ever going to hear about that? No. Like you said, it's not only the government pushing this, but it's them also hiding every single piece of information in regards to the adverse reactions.
Yeah, because you can't, like, again, like you mentioned, everything's medical misinformation if it goes against what their public health experts say.
Yeah.
And that's the danger that I've been saying or calling out on this show, because what happens is you stifle all sort of communication where this could have been worked out. If people were allowed, this is why the free flow of that is very important, because we get to sort that out. There was plenty of experts that warned against stuff like that were either laughed out the room, censored, or that because they didn't say what the public health experts, the ones that work for the government, were the ones actually saying. So what you're seeing, unfortunately, is why when you try to stifle that sort of communication and don't allow it to exist, this stuff would have been worked out months ago if these experts were allowed to say exactly this. But because you didn't allow them to say that, we now have to deal with maybe, and this is just maybe the start of this, who knows, 5 years down the line, what other issues that may happen because, well, we weren't allowed to ask questions.
Well, and look, the NIH also just barely started conducting research into how this is going to affect women long term in regards to their menstrual cycle. They barely started conducting that research a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, because that would be the time to do it after you've already given up.
After it's been out already for a couple months.
That's your government at work, guys. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Tommy John. So I obviously not a guy. I know some people in the comments accuse me of being a trans woman. No, actually, I'm a female. I have all female parts. Thank you very much. So I'm not a man, but I do hear that men have, like, if you don't wear the right underwear, there's some moisture that happens down in your underwear. Well, Tommy Johns can solve that, okay, because they are very, very soft, quick drying. But I would like to tell all of the ladies out there, not just about how Tommy John is super awesome when it comes to men's underwear. They're breathable, they're lightweight, they've got moisture wicking fabric. I want to talk about the loungewear for women, okay, because I do own that. I've got the shorts and the t-shirts. They are literally the softest thing I have ever put on my body, and I really, I cannot tell you enough. People hear about Tommy John and they're like, yeah, right. It can't be that good. Well, I was telling my husband about it because I couldn't stop raving about it when I got home. And finally I got him some, and he put his on and he was like, holy crap, you're right. This is amazing. I've never worn underwear this comfortable and soft. All right, so I'm just telling you, men, women, there's only 2 genders, so that's all I'm going to say. But whatever gender you are, Tommy John has something for you. They've got a best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. You can go to TommyJohn.com/Y, get 20% off of your order. That is TommyJohn.com/Y. See site for details. Dr. Anthony Fauci, also known as the greatest con man of all time. Well, he's known as that title if you watch this program, probably not if you're watching CNN, but he declined to say yesterday when fully vaccinated Americans can take off their face mask indoors. See, those of you who watch this program may not realize that the people who follow Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the people who follow him are actually still supposed to be vaccinated and wearing their masks indoors, which, I mean, in Texas, I think is just, it's crazy to think of, because I just went to the state fair. They claimed masks are required in the buildings. I was very hesitant, and I was like, well, I won't be going into any of the buildings if that's the case. And of course, this is Texas. So I was looking at people walking out of the buildings, and I'm like, no one's wearing their face masks in here. God bless Texas. I love us. But Dr. Fauci still cannot give a prediction on when it will be safe for all of you vaccinated people to take off your masks. Watch.
How long do you think it will be until it's safe for vaccinated people to once again be indoors without a mask?
You know, it's always tough to predict that. I think if we continue to go down in the cases that we're seeing right now, and more people get vaccinated, as the dynamics of the outbreak, namely the amount of virus circulating in the community, goes down, I hope we'll be able to pull back on some of those restrictions to get closer to what we really feel is normal in the community. I hope that's soon, but I can't give a prediction of a date on that, Dana.
I mean, look, he's just the highest paid federal employee. How could he possibly give you any sort of prediction? Not that you should believe the prediction, because everything he has said, he just is either completely wrong on, or he just flip-flops when he realizes he is going to be completely wrong on it. But he can't give a prediction. Nevertheless, the cases, he just said, right, the cases are still going up. We have the majority of Americans vaccinated. So those two things should not be happening, right? The cases should not be going up if the vaccinations have already gone up. But the answer to that is just to continue getting people vaccinated, and somehow the cases will stop going up. To me, something isn't quite right here. Savannah.
You know, honestly, at this point, I don't know who is genuinely sitting in front of their TV screen and waiting for direction from Dr. Fauci. I mean, I stopped listening to him pretty much 1 week into this pandemic, and now the fact that he has his National Geographic documentary, the fact that he was able to make a documentary during one of the most deadliest pandemics.
Wasn't he supposed to be really busy?
Yeah, exactly. You think that would happen, but I mean, that was enough for me, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. He's been so just hypocritical in regards to face masks, vaccinations, when we can get our freedoms back. And my main message to anybody listening to this show is you can have your freedoms back as soon as you're ready to have them back. There you go. You could have had your freedoms back last year. You could have had your freedoms back the moment Dr. Fauci said, hey, I'm locking us down. How about no?
The whole thing with freedoms is that, like, you're not supposed to wait for permission to get them back.
People forget that.
That's the thing,
A lot of people, unfortunately, forget that, especially folks that love those catchphrases, don't tread on me and all that, and then they become too chicken crap in the event that it's time to, do freedom.
Well, these are the rules. I have to put my mask on. These are the rurules.
These freaking guys,
but they have a sign on their store that says it.
Oh, man, these guys suck. But seriously, Fauci, it does boggle my mind that there has to be individuals that are out there that actually listen to him. I've seen comments, for example, on Twitter, and they're like, well, I trust Fauci, and he said this, and I'm like, man, you have to be a miserable, idiotic human being in order to be such. But to your point about the cases, which, they're talking about this great victory because it went from over 100,000 and now it's like 95,000 or something like that a day or whatever it is. And it's like, we're about to enter into winter. Yeah. That's going to go back up as it has. And I'm getting deja vu because this is a conversation that we were just having last year, or rather earlier this year, when you look at, the cases are going down. It's like, okay, maybe you can do this, maybe you can't. And then for inexplicable, whatever reason, no new data or anything, the CDC, you don't have to wear masks anymore. Well, now you have to wear them again. It's almost as if they just freestyling at this point. And we don't know, because we see the numbers coming out of Israel. We see Singapore, which continues to have record highs in terms of cases, despite having like an 85% vaccination rate. It's like you don't get both of those. That's not how it generally works. Really, it hasn't worked like that anywhere. So the cases will go back up. But for Fauci, I think he's so much of a narcissistic, just jackwagon, that he just loves this. He's on CNN all the damn time. I don't even know when he's at. What does he do for work? Like I don't understand, because every
news hits.
Yeah, I guess that's what he does. He just sits there.
He doesn't predict anything, apparently.
Well, he don't predict things that's kind of uncomfortable for him. He'll have so much to say about other things, like people gathering in college arenas or baseball games or whatever. But no, seriously, like this guy loves the spotlight. You know, he's obviously on the latter half of his life. He's like 80 freaking years old. And this is as much publicity and as much like importance that he has ever had over the course of his entire life. And I think a lot of people are looking over that. Yes, we know he's been a public or an employee of the government for a very long time. He botched the AIDS epidemic back in the Gap, but still he wasn't a household name. Now everybody knows who Fauci is. He's throwing the first pitch of Nationals games. He has his documentary coming out. I believe that he is basking in that. And so as long as this can keeps getting kicked, well, he gets to stay in that spotlight that I believe he actually enjoys that enough to where, if I keep this going, they're going to continue to love me and continue to, because the minute this is over, like the minute the people say we're done here, Fauci fades into obscurity. We're not even talking about this guy because nobody cares. This is all that man has, and that's why I believe he continues to kick that can down the road.
All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, the Relief Band. So if you have ever suffered from nausea, you know nausea can ruin your whole day. You can have to call in for work. You can, even in severe cases, be unable to function. So if you suffer from any of that, you got to check out Relief Band. It is the #1 FDA-cleared anti-nausea wristband. It's been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, all of it. The product is 100% drug-free. It's non-drowsy. It's all natural relief, 0 side effects for as long as you need it. So this is how it works. It's pretty cool. It stimulates a nerve in your wrist that travels to the part of the brain that controls nausea, and then it blocks the signal your brain is sending to your stomach, telling you that you are sick. So again, if anyone suffers from anxiety, Relief Band can help you just on the anxiety, and the benefits that you will get make it totally worth it just for that alone. And then again, if any of you, maybe you're going out Saturday night partying a little too hard, I highly recommend Relief Band for you. Not that I would know or anything. Relief Band has an exclusive offer just for you guys. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Y, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping and a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. Go to reliefband, RELIEFBAND.com. Use the promo code Y for 20% off plus free shipping. Just to wrap up our conversation on the COVID-19 pandemic, vaccine, all of the conversation on this, I present to you the White House press secretary, who her real name is Jen Psaki, but we all know that she's the poor man's Peppermint Patty. And she is asked a question by a reporter about why Joe Biden's latest polls are so low. We've covered them on the show. They are, a Quinnipiac University poll just found Biden's approval rating to be 38% and 43.3% approval, according to Real Clear Politics. It's been spiraling downward and downward and downward. And Jen Psaki has an answer for that. Let me just warn you. Take your blood pressure medication. It may make your head explode. How evil they are at all of this spinning. Watch.
What do you make of these really terrible polls? Are they that he's doing something wrong? Is it just the communication? Or is it he's doing unpopular things that have to be done? Or something else?
Sure. Well, look, I would say that this is a really tough time in our country. We're still battling COVID, and a lot of people thought we'd be through it, including us. And because of the rise of the Delta variant, because of the fact that even though it was a vaccine that was approved under a Republican administration, even though we now have full FDA approval, and even though it's widely available across the country, we still have a quarter of the country who have, less than that, 20% of the country who've decided not to get vaccinated. No question that's having an impact.
This reminds me of like the abusive husband who's like, well, if you had just made my sandwich the right way the first time, I wouldn't have had to slap you around.
I love how the reporter too is like, even though he has to make these unpopular but necessary decisions, because we all know that our media is not real in this country, and they have to like buffer their questions with that too. Because oh my gosh, like Joe Biden's so unpopular that every single weekend we're hearing F Joe Biden at college football games, UFC fights, take your pick. Exactly. Or even liberals now are upset with the fact that they voted for Joe Biden. Most popular president in history though, in regards to his being voted in.
Well, that's what you have to do.
Some would say.
That's naturally what you have to do when you have the most popular president, is just fortify that, just to make sure that most popular president stays the most popular president.
Look, we know Biden sucks, but to the oblivious people, they really can't wrap their minds around that there are individuals that are actually in disagreement with them. These are oblivious people that we are talking about, and you always have to account for that. A lot of them are evil, a lot of them are oblivious, the worst are both. But look, we got to get those numbers to go down even further. 42 or whatever percent, that's way too damn high as far as I'm concerned, considering what all is being done. But the fact that she goes to blame like these, I guess somehow quasi sort of blame placed on unvaccinated. I don't even know where she was going with that.
No sense.
She doesn't know where she was going.
She kind of was. She tried to get back to the point, and she was like, "Yeah, I lost it." It's a script. Remember, the NPCs they only can operate on certain talking points, and when they get to veering off, it becomes muddy. And that's I think what we just saw, a live action sort of version of that, because that doesn't make any sense. What do we got to do with certainly anything that it's a wildly available? What that has to do with your approval rating?
Eric, I saw this tweet the other day, and it goes, Facebook and Instagram are down for me. Get vaccinated. You don't want this. And that's essentially Jen Psaki.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I'm like, that's basically the entire state of our country right now.
It really strikes me the way that she said, even though it was a vaccine that was approved under a Republican administration, which is like, I'm sorry that you guys are so tribalistic that you only want to do things that the Democrats approve of. I don't give a flying F who this vaccine was distributed and approved, made up. Who was running the country when the vaccine was created?
It's the same people that...
Who would care? I'm like, who would care about that?
Same people that they think would care, now it's FDA approved, or rather the emergency usage has been extended. And they think people care about that. Well, now there's no excuse. No, my position doesn't rest upon what...
Also, it's none of your damn business.
That's number one. That's first and foremost. But certainly, I already think these agencies and institutions are corrupt as I don't know what. So why would I... now you said it's okay.
Right.
I'm going to go...
Right.
No, they just can't... And this is the problem, I guess, going back to public school or indoctrination, where it has a lot of people that have allegiance to the state.
Yeah.
And they really... I mean, they believe that, okay, if it comes from us, then you must do it, or people are more inclined to do it. And God forbid people just disagree with them, or we don't care who it is, Republican, Democrat, whoever's in control, we don't trust that, or we don't trust you, or rather it's none of your business, or I'm against a vaccine mandate like that. It's a simple thing, but when you have allegiance to the state and you're not a part of that cult that they've been a part of for so long, well, they just can't wrap their minds around it.
Yeah, it just feels a lot like projection, Savannah, that they are like, well, you're not doing this because of politics. It's like, no, actually, politics didn't factor into my decision at all. That seems to be what you guys live and die by. Because if politics factored my decision, I'd be like, oh, President Trump was the one who was president when they created this. I should go get it.
Yeah. And that's what it is. I mean, she threw in the jab of, this was, pushed under a Republican presidency as a jab in a way to say, it's Republicans who aren't taking the vaccine, or it's right-wingers who aren't taking it. But in reality, look at what Democrats were saying about the vaccine under Donald Trump. They were like, I would never take this. Kamala Harris herself came out and said, I don't trust a vaccine that comes out under Donald Trump. I'm not doing this. And so now they're basically trying to do the same thing where they're blaming us for it because of the administration in power. And it's like, unfortunately for you guys, we actually have common sense and we do research into what is in this, and we don't want it for other reasons, not just politics. Sorry you guys don't have the ability to, think common sense wise.
Critical thinking, maybe. They should try it sometime.
Very lost in society today.
Yes, it is. All right, speaking of Kamala, we have got a Kamala clip. Well, we're going to need to take a break, but when we come back, we've got a Kamala clip that you are not going to want to miss. It's the best Kamala clip ever. We'll be back in a minute. Did you guys see this?
Yes, unfortunately.
I didn't understand.
Vice President Kamala Harris is getting roasted, and you know what? She should be getting roasted all over social media after appearing. No, this is a NASA video for kids, okay? Apparently, she serves as the chair of the National Space Council, and she was talking to kids. She was talking to kids about her fixation with the craters on the moon, and this is the most cringeworthy, fake, gross video you probably will ever see of Kamala. And that's saying a lot because she has a lot of really bad ones out there. Watch.
I just love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we just haven't figured out or discovered yet. To think about so much that's out there that we still have to learn. Like, I love that. I love that. And so I'm very excited about the Space Council. We're going to learn so much. As we increasingly, I think, are curious and interested in the potential for the discoveries and the work we can do in space. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are gonna see, you're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable.
Okay, I feel bad for the kids. The kids are even like, this is so awkward that we have to pretend like we're happy about this.
They're
it's
like,
weird. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we know what eyes are. You don't have to point to your eye when you're telling us. I'm like 13. I know what eyes are. It's just
that just goes to show how fake Kamala is. That when she pretends to be a nice person, it comes off like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and when she tries to relate to kids, it's just like, oh, sweetheart, you should not be sitting down having these conversations. How many kids have you ever talked to in your life, Kamala? I know she has a stepdaughter. Does she have any kids of her own?
Hey, Sarah, well, it was either her or Joe Biden in that chair, and I guess the administration went with a better pick, for being around children.
Yeah.
So that's what we got, America. That's what we got.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
So
bad.
Yeah, goosebumps. So much cringe.
With your own, will you tell me with your own mouth what you think? With your own mouth, literally.
She obviously knows she's being recorded, and I guess that's her way of trying to be enthusiastic about whatever the hell they're going to be doing, certainly in space. But yet, this is a cringy woman that just everything about her just spells fake.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that I know that are like that, but it's something special about Kamala Harris where nothing seems genuine. When she speaks, like at all.
It's interesting because I had this conversation with Glenn and Stu several years ago before she even started running for president, and there was talks that she was going to, and they said, I don't know, she could be difficult because she just seems to be so sincere. And I was like, what?
What are you seeing? And I'm not.
She's the most inauthentic person. There's no way. And I mean, I guess I'll give myself a little credit because when she did run for president, she did horribly. The only reason she's there is because Joe Biden needed to pick a woman of color, and she was the only one who, I guess, met the threshold, which...
Elizabeth Warren didn't?
Yeah, well, I guess her Native American, the 1,000, whatever
it wasn't enough. It just wasn't quite enough.
Enough.
See, with Kamala, you get she can be black or Indian.
And she fluctuates too.
There's a lot more flexibility with her.
It's true. Well, and we all know when it comes to the left, it really does come down to the color of your skin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I am 100% white because my skin tends to be less brown than some of my relatives. So it really just comes down to skin color. All right, we've got a couple minutes left. I do want to bring up this last story that we have. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new law over the weekend mandating that many large retail stores offer some toys in gender-neutral sections. This is, of course, to encourage children to consider toys without taking into account gender stereotypes. It's going to require a retail department store that is physically located in California that has a total of 500 or more employees across all California locations to maintain a gender-neutral section or area. And if they don't, they could have a possible $250 fine for the first violation and up to a $500 fine for each subsequent violation. So it's good to know that Gavin Newsom, now that he barely hung on by the skin of his teeth, is tackling the important issues plaguing society.
Oh yeah. You know, we can always expect that from Gavin. Not, you know, people ODing in his state from the drug use, not people crapping in the street, nothing like that. He focuses in on the issues that matter, like genderless toys for children, because we all know that, you know, you take your kid to a Target and they're like, Mommy, I wish there was a toy that was just genderless that could speak to me, because really, I'm just not sure. My gender is just fluctuating right now, and it's a lot for me to deal with. I feel really targeted right now by this Target, you know, toy aisle.
Right.
Happens so many times with kids, you know, so thank God for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean, what a guy, Eric. What a guy.
I don't understand. Like, how is California a real place?
Yeah, it's essentially like South Park, but in real life.
Yeah,
that's
like
California.
how is this a real place? Like, there's people that live there voluntarily.
Seriously.
Like, what?
And pay so much in taxes to live there and be subjected to this. And as Savannah pointed out, all of the poop on the streets and the needles and everything else, because it's a nasty place now.
The thefts, you go to a CVS and people just walk in. If you steal like less than $1,000, like you're good to go.
Like, how is that a real place?
Yeah.
That people live like, and it's like a meme in State Farm, and it continues to, the joke keeps going further and further. I'm like, this is a real place that people live at, man. That place sucks.
California really is the gift that never stops giving.
Yeah.
What can we say?
It really is incredible it's incredible when I realize I'm the only parent at the table, but you know, when you start having children and you just see their natural propensity to go towards whatever it is that their gender is. I mean, like, it's just, I never pushed my son to anything. I never pushed him to cars. I never pushed him to dinosaurs. He just gravitated towards those things because it's just ingrained in them, and you realize that when you have children. But you know, here we're making sure that young girls can find police cars, fire trucks, periodic tables, dinosaurs, which, by the way, there should be no problem with them finding in the regular toy section.
Yeah, I mean, just buy your daughter a dinosaur. There you go.
Yeah, it's like there's no stigma with a little girl. This is a quote from one of the assemblymen. Like,
you know, Lego,
I don't think anyone's not letting their daughter buy a police car. What is the problem?
Lego also came out today, and they are now pushing genderless Lego sets, which is amazing, because I didn't know Legos were gendered.
Man. These guys, I'm done with this.
Eric's like, you're canceled. It's all canceled. We're done.
Yeah, Eric is going to create his own.
I'll create my own.
Blocks.
We've got the comic book coming soon. I'm going toys next.
I love it.
Take over the culture,
Yes.
And the toy industry.
By the way, that's what we're trying to do at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. Go get your lipstick now. We got to take a break. We'll be back.
California's a fake place, man. I never liked California.
Hey, big thank you to all of you who have gone to wherever you get your audio podcasts and subscribed, rate, and review the news and why it matters. It helps more people be able to find the show, which also means less people who feel like they have to tune in to like CNN and Fox News and these mainstream outlets who still have an agenda. So thanks to those of you who have already done so. As an added bonus to get you to do it, we also may read your review live on air, like the one today from CJ Loves Andy, who says, 5 stars, I never miss a podcast. 5 stars is truly what the news and why it matter deserves. I listen daily. I love the intelligent banter, debate, and the thought-provoking topics that keep me up to date with the latest fast-paced news cycle. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for your review. Again, you guys make sure to get them in, and you may see it read live on air. And also, don't forget to follow both of my lovely guests today. We've got Savannah Hernandez, who I hope, please come back.
Definitely. This was so much fun.
Okay, good.
Come on Slightly Offensive, too.
Yes.
I'll come back, you come back.
Okay,
amazing.
All right. We'll do a tradesies.
Eric, you too.
All right.
Yes. So make sure to follow them. Eric July, Savannah Hernandez. I'm Sara Gonzalez, and that's it for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow.